जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावन्यचारी यमुनातीरावन्यचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावन्यचारी यमुनातीरावन्यचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावन्यचारी यमुनातीरावन्यचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 जय राधा मुरलीधर श्री राधे जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय गुरुदेव जय बोल श्री संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। I welcome all of you all for joining on this Saturday evening. Thank you all for coming. You could have been anywhere enjoying this sunny day outside, but you preferred to come here to hear about Bhagavad Gita and who is God. So congratulations on making it here. So we had a very nice kirtan in the beginning. So music is one of the ways in which you can make a connection to God. There is so much potency in music through which you can make a connection to God. Whenever you hear a really nice kirtan going on and which really touches the heart, it kind of gives you one experience that, oh yes, this is my connection to God. So, and music can facilitate that. And if that music is glorifying God, the only experience that you can say, okay, I know I am a soul. How do I know that? The way you can experience, one of the way you can experience is through going through to some good kirtans and attending them, and that actually takes you out of this world. I have been to so many kirtans. I have been blessed to be living in New Jersey and going to Bhakti Center. Obviously, because of this COVID situation, the kirtans and all are closed now. But they usually have it on every Thursday evening, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and it's amazing. It's one of my favorite thing to do on Thursday evenings. But unfortunately, I'm not able to do it now because they have closed it for time being. But we are hoping it will come back soon again. We can have that. So we'll start by offering some prayers. Om Ajnanaतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांताय नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम राम। So the reason we offer the prayers is that we beg the mercy of the acharyas, that the knowledge that we have got from the Guru Sishya Parampara, we present it as it is and we do not add or subtract anything from it. We beg their blessings that the things which we want to convey are conveyed in the fashion they have conveyed it to us, and it enters into people's heart and touches their lives. So last week we discussed, we are in this topic, who is God, does he care, and why should I care? And we discussed that, okay, we can do a forward reasoning or backward reasoning to understand God, meaning because there is sun coming time to time, because there is rains coming time to time, because the moon is coming time to time, we conclude, we infer that, yeah, God must be there. So that is backward reasoning, because the mango is so sweet. Who made the mangoes? The deer. When you see a squirrel, small tiny hands through which the squirrel climbs the trees, you say, wow, so nicely designed. We saw in the Discover Yourself sessions, we saw spider making the webs. So all this we see, okay, yes, we know there is a design, so there has to be a designer. There's a creation, so there has to be a creator. So we go, that is the backward reasoning we are saying. There is forward reasoning is, okay, God exists, and then we go from there. That, yeah, God exists, then, and he made all these things. But reasoning can get us only to a distance, meaning reasoning acts like a candlelight or moonlight. It can provide you some things. Okay, it is good to start with, but when you really want to understand about God, or you really want to know God, then you need revelations, you need more. And what is the best place where God reveals himself? It is through the own words of God, that is in the Bhagavad Gita. So we have discussed that in chapter 4, originally Krishna describes about himself from chapter 7 to 12. But there was an interesting thing that happened in chapter 4 that made God start speaking about himself. And what was that thing? Is when he told that, okay, Krishna, Arjuna, I gave this knowledge to sun god millions of years ago, and sun god gave it to Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. So that's how this knowledge is going. And then we briefly went through the translation of first 9 verses of chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. So all of you, do you have the hard copy of do you have the copy of Bhagavad Gita with you? Do you have it? Or if not, then I can. Okay, Roshni says yes.
Yes, we do. We do have.
Okay, great. Okay, but Pooja doesn't have it. Yeah, so maybe Pooja, you can order one online. Yeah. Yeah, on phone and on laptop is good, but the book, when we have the physical copy, it is called Pustak Prabhav. You can have a relationship with this book, and it is a different experience to read it from the book. Mobile phone and is called that and all is good, but when you have your physical copy, you kind of can write notes, open it whenever you like, and it's a different experience to read from the book. All our education has happened in the books. So yeah, you see if you can get one, and it is good for eyes also. Instead of laptop and mobile, you can actually refer the book, which is, you don't have to hamper your eyes. So Krishna gave a hint about himself in this chapter 4. So I'll project. Yeah, all of you can see my screen. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Does anyone, so I will read this verse. This is chapter 4, verse 1. Today we will go deeper into this verse and discuss on this verse what Krishna is trying to say, and we need to understand it uh, how the acharyas have explained us. So I'll first explain you the format of this, how to read Bhagavad Gita, and all the Prabhupada books are in this format only. So if you understand this once, it is there with you for life, for all the books that you read of Prabhupada. So first, it is given in the Sanskrit. The verse is given in Sanskrit, and then its English transliteration is given. And there is a word-to-word meaning for each verse. So every word has, every word, Sanskrit word is given, and its meaning is given in English. And the translation of the entire verse is given. And then Prabhupada provides his commentary on what this verse actually means. Because just the translation is not, it is good for the acharyas, but we may not understand what Krishna is exactly trying to say in this thing. Krishna had only 45 minutes on the battlefield to give this knowledge to Arjuna. And he has spoken some of the things that may go bouncer to us. He may have spoken something. Most of the Bhagavad Gita is like you can get it. But what are the additional things that you can take from it? So the acharyas, they handpick it and they give it to you so that you get the uh, full benefit out of the Bhagavad Gita. So that is the each acharya, be it Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and Srila Prabhupada, they give commentary for that particular day and age so that it is understood to the people of that generation, and with the examples and with the language, so that it is very simple for them to grasp it. So that is the unique contribution of Prabhupada here, because he gave his golden purports here, which explains us in detail. Like, this is a very big purport he has given us. So that explains us in detail what is it, what are the hidden gems in this particular verse, so to speak. So I'll read this verse. I'll read this verse, and maybe after me, if someone wants to try, they can try. It will be good if you try. It is Sanskrit and it is our language. We shouldn't fear about uh, reading these verses. Shouldn't be fearful about reading these verses. And there is a fear that how do we pronounce it? We may not pronounce it right. So don't worry about it. We've been doing these classes since long time, and we are actually as good as family. So there is nothing to be shy about or fearless about. So if everyone wants to give it a try, they can try. I'll read it 2 times, and then after that you can all repeat. श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्. So one other thing I wanted to mention here is, in the English transliteration that is given here, there is a certain way you need to understand. First of all, this rhythm, the Bhagavad Gita verses, most of them are composed in the Anustuk Chanda. So there is a particular chand in Sanskrit where Anustuk means 8 syllables in one line. They are composed like that. So this is, and there is Guru and Lagu. Guru means heavy and Lagu means light. So with those arrangement, and there is a fixed pattern of Guru and Lagu in which it is composed. It is not a random word anywhere, anything is put. It's not like that. It's a proper poem. Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita means song of God. So it is composed like that. So this uh, this is considered as S, and a tilt on top of it is sh. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha sh. And then a, a dash on A is considered as A. Like a normal A is A, and this is A. A. And a dot on M is mum. Is pronounced as mum, yogam, mum. And so we discussed this, and the dot below S is considered as ksha, ikshvaku. This is sha, and this is ksha, like in Krishna, ksha. So that is how these transliterations should be learned. And if you try to read it, you'll get it after some time. You'll have a hand on Sanskrit also. You will, if you keep on reading these verses and its translation and synonym, after a while, in 6 months, you'll build yourself like that much Sanskrit. You'll start knowing that, okay, you'll understand that it's not that difficult, as I thought it to be. It's not that difficult. So this is A, this is sh, free, and then this is anushtuk shanda, all that we discussed. So I'll repeat it again, and after me, please try to repeat it. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha imam vivashvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivashvan manave praha manurikshvakave bravit. See, just one note, viva. So I said this viva because this is a, this is a, and shwan. There I said shwan, viva shwan, because there is a dash on that. So that was one example. Yeah, please go ahead. Anyone wants to read in Sanskrit? Please give it a try.
We can read Chintan.
Yeah.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha imam vaivashvade yogam प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवश्वान् मनवे प्राह manur ishvagave bravit.
Very nice. Yes. Thank you, Padampriya. Anyone else want to try? Anyone? See, these are the verses directly coming from God. Even if we recite it once, Prabhupada said that even if they recite once one verse, that will be sufficient. That will start their devotional service. So,
Okay.
yeah, please.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manavitaha manu ikshvakave bhavit.
Very nice. Yeah, one good thing you did is you read it very slowly. So yeah, initially when we read it very slowly so that you can pronounce it rightly and you can get the rhythm as well. Very nice job. Anyone wants to read the synonyms?
Chintan, I would have loved to participate today, but unfortunately, I've had my eye dilation exam, so I can't see the screen too well at this point.
Oh,
But
really?
I'm just hearing.
Okay, no problem, Sona. I hope you recover soon.
Thank
And
you.
next week onwards, you'll.
Yes, I hope so. Yes, absolutely.
Fine. Anyone wants to read the synonyms? Pooja, do you want to try?
Yes, Chintan, I have my son here with me, so I'm just like, if he's noisy or something, that's why I didn't want to like
That's fine.
participate.
That's
But I'll,
fine.
Yeah.
That is
okay.
fine.
Uh, so
Even your son
synonyms,
wants to
you,
read, yeah,
no,
synonym
he's
or
pretty small. Yeah, you want me
okay.
to read the synonym or the translation?
Synonyms first and then translation.
Okay. Shri Bhagavan Vacha is the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Imam meaning this, Vivashvate is unto the Sun God, Yogam is the science of one's relationship to the Supreme, Proktavan is instructed, Aham is I, Avyayam is imperishable, Vivashvan is Vivashvan the Sun God's name, Manave is unto the father of mankind of the name Vaivashvata, and Praha is told, and Manuha is the father of mankind, and Ik, uh, Ikshvakave is unto King Ikshvaku, and Abravit is said.
Translation.
Translation is the personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivashvan, and Vivashvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku.
Right. Great.
Mama, I am done.
Thank you so much. So, this is the purport, and I'll read the paragraph, this paragraph, and I had mentioned last time also that the homework assignment was to read these purports and share your realizations. So what I'll do is I'll read this paragraph once, and you all would have 1 minute to share your realization on top of it. Okay, so this is the way we'll learn the Bhagavad Gita. If we really want to learn the Bhagavad Gita, we need to get involved in this, and we really need to understand what is the message that God is trying to convey us here. And the Acharya here, they are explaining, and once we start thinking, okay, this is what it means, we have to build that practice so we can grasp it and apply easily in our life. Okay, so I'll read the purport here. Herein we find the history of the Bhagavad Gita traced from a remote time when it was delivered to the royal order of all planets, beginning from the sun planet. The king of all planets are especially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from the material bondage to lust. Human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge in eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture, and devotion. In other words, the executive heads of all states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that the people may take advantage of this great science and pursue a successful path, utilizing the opportunity of the human form of life. So now we have gone through the translation and we have gone through the purport. So now you can share, you take 1 or 2 minutes and share your realization. And so now I know you cannot look at the screen, but let me know if you want me to read the purport again, so that the first paragraph of the purport, so that you can get it and maybe contribute into the discussion. I think she has left. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, you all have 1 or 2 minutes, so you can share your realization on top of this. Okay. So who wants to go first? Anyone wants to share their realization, what they got out of this purport? This first paragraph actually that we are projecting on the screen. What is the central point, or what is the point that grabs your attention?
Chintan, can you just show us the screen once again?
Yeah, there you go.
For me, Chintan, I felt human life is meant for like the cultivation of spiritual knowledge was the takeaway.
Correct. Yeah. Human life is meant for the cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Yes. Fair point. Um, Anyone else wants to try what they got out of this particular paragraph? Jatin, do you want to try? Do you want to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I just joined, so I have to follow. Sorry, I got late.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Sona has joined back. Sona, did you hear the purport, or do you want us to repeat what was there?
I think I was getting a call, so I got disconnected. I couldn't hear.
Okay. Okay. So should I read that purport one more time for you? One
Yes,
paragraph?
I would. Yeah, I would greatly appreciate if you can. I think I can come up to
Okay.
speed quick.
Sure. Yeah, and everyone else will get time. So here the first paragraph here it is said that herein we find the history of the Bhagavad Gita traced from a remote time where it was delivered to the royal order of all planets, beginning from the sun planet. The kings of all planets are especially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. Human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge in eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture, and devotion. In other words, the executive heads of all these states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that the people may take advantage of this great science and pursue a successful path utilizing the opportunity of the human form of life. Yeah, that's the end of the first paragraph of the purport.
And Chintan, are we supposed to like describe our understanding of it, or like give an example, like?
Yeah, your basic understanding of what you got out of it.
So I think some of it is we've discussed in previous classes, right? People constantly keep running towards a desire. So it's when you connect with Bhagavad Gita, the aim is that you improve your spiritual knowledge and sort of learn that we are all one, and in the end sort of go back to the same Bhagwan. And so I think just sort of keeping that in mind, because it says the knowledge has been passed over, and just sort of coming back to that and keeping that in mind, and not getting into bond.
Okay, fair point. Yeah, and anyone else wants to try? Thank you, Sona, for that. It was very nice. Padam Priya, Nibha, Roshni.
I think what stood out to me was the part where it says all the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture, and devotion. And I guess the reason why it like stood out to me because it's like for reasons, people, especially like here we like separate religion from our school systems and stuff because of like the conflicts that people have with religion and like all the stuff that it brings up of like my religion's better than your religion. But like the spiritual science with behind it, like that emotional, psychological intelligence, unfortunately, it's not taught in schools because our school system is like modeled after, and I don't forgive me for kind of going off the school system, but like our school system is modeled off this old model that was started in like the industrial age. It was just like designed to like train people who would become factory workers, and instead of having it be a lot more nuanced and complex and have all these different facets to it, which comes from like spiritual science. So that's one thing that really stuck to me. So.
Very nice point. Yes, Roshni. Thank you so much. So one may ask a question like Krishna is saying, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu and the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Now, Krishna, why did you speak to sun god? What was the need for you to speak to sun god? Then here, Prabhupada says that we trace it from the time when it was delivered to royal order, all the planets, beginning from the sun god, because sun god was the ruler of all the planet. The kings of all the planets are specially meant for protection of the inhabitants. Why we need to give this knowledge to the heads of the states or the kings or to the leaders of the society? Why we need to give them this knowledge? Because this knowledge, with this knowledge, they will be to rule properly. They are supposed to rule properly, because if the leaders do not lead properly, they will take us their followers or all the citizens into a miserable state. So it is very important for them to understand this science of Bhagavad Gita. Here, therefore, the royal order should understand that it is a science. Bhagavad Gita is a science. It is not a mythological scripture. It is not a sentimental book, or it is not a philosophical book. It is a science through which, if you understand this, it is a very practical book. It will help you lead the nation, lead a state, or lead whatever. If you are working for an organization, you'll be able to lead it properly. And how are you supposed to lead, and what is your dharma? What is it that the head of state are supposed to do in order to rule the citizens and protect them from the material bondage to lust? See, lust is the thing that we have discussed about. I'm not sure if we discussed about the 6 anarthas that are there, and out of there, lust is one of the most deep-rooted anarthas. Lust can be of 2 types. It is first of all, it means sex desire. Second is willingness or desire to achieve, to run behind things, unnecessarily unwanted things, to have to develop attraction for things. But most prominent is the king of all that is the sex desire. So the rulers, the leaders of the state, what are they supposed to do? They are supposed to protect the citizens from the material bondage to lust. They are not supposed to take them to a state from which they are they make people more and more lusty behind, and they are running about behind different kinds of stuff. Like, I want to get this, I want to have a big house, big car. Okay, that is fine, but take it, and it should be for the benefit, for your benefit, to achieve your goal, to go to make your connection to back home, back to Godhead. But this thing is like a strong bond. Lust is one thing that is keep on binding us to keep on doing ugra karma. Ugra karma is something like unnecessary. We work so hard to achieve things. It is, once a scholar said, we buy things we to impress someone whom we do not like. That is what it is. Then the material bondage, to free people from the material bondage. So many type of bondage we have. We have family bondages, we have work bondage, we have society bondage. From all these bondages, the ruler, if they have this knowledge, they will be able to free us from that particular bondage. But if they do not have this knowledge, they will not lead us properly. So who is the leader in this society? And you can say that, okay, none of us is a leader here. You can say that, like, I'm not a head of a state, I'm not a royal, I'm not a president. Then you can say this knowledge is not necessary for me. No, it is necessary for all of us, because all of us are leader in one sense or the other. Like, some of you may be parents. So you are ruling over your kids. So how to mold your kids, how to engage their kids. Like in Bhagavatam, it says that 3 type of people, if they are not capable, like 3 type of people take people under them. First are kings, second are the spiritual masters, and third are parents. King has citizen under them, spiritual master has disciple under them, parents has children under them. So if the verse I'm forgetting, but if you are not able to take them to the right, to the path of bhakti, please do not take them under your. Please do not become parent if you cannot take your child towards bhakti, towards God realization. If you cannot help cultivate devotion, Bhagavatam is very clear about that, very, very strong about this, that if you cannot take your or give a path to your children through which they can progress on bhakti and develop their relationship with God, do not become a parent. So that is why this is how we implement this Bhagavad Gita into our daily life. Otherwise, if we do not understand it, we may think that, oh, okay, this knowledge was for sun god, this knowledge is for the royals, this is not for me. No, this knowledge is meant for you. Krishna is the most practical person. Again, we are coming back to the topic of, I want to tell that we are discussing the topic, who is God? Does he care? Why should I care? So who is God? He is God, who is continuously giving us this, who is continuously giving us the instructions of how to lead the life. Yeah, so the Bhagavatam verse is, I just got it. It says, Guru na shashyat swana jano na shashyat pitro na shashyat dhyani na shashyat daivam na tatsyan na patis cha shasyan na mochayas yat samupeta mrityu. This is 5.5. So this is the instruction, Bhagavatam. I'll open it here. 5.18. This is when Lord Rishabdev is giving instruction to his 100 sons. grow or not, this is the word. One cannot deliver is dependent from the path of repeated birth and death, should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or worshipable demigod. See, this is Bhagavatam is so clear about this. And this is the instruction. This is one of my favorite chapters in the entire Bhagavatam, where Lord Rishabdev is instructing his sons. He had 100 sons. So again, I'll read this translation. Lord Rishabdev is nothing but he's an incarnation of God only, Krishna. So he says, one who cannot deliver his dependent from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. So this, thank you, Shama Mataji, for giving this verse. I'll go back to our discussion. Yeah. So that is the prime duty of the parents to take children to the path of bhakti, towards God realization. I'll tell you one story what happened. Once a kid stole some money from one of his schoolmates, and he got that money, and his mother came to know about it. But mother, instead of scolding the child, she didn't chastise the child. She was supposed to chastise the child, but she didn't. And she said, okay, because she was in so much love with the children, with his child, with his son, with her son, she was like, okay, she wasn't hard on him. And she said, okay, don't do it next time. The son, again, because he knew that the mother's love for him is far greater. So he started taking mother for granted, and slowly he started committing bigger crimes. And like doing this, because of the motherly love, he started getting out of the hand, and he at the end committed a gruesome crime. He killed someone. And when his mother came to meet him for the last time, he was sentenced, death sentence he was given. He called the mother close to himself and bite her hair, her ear. And mother said, I loved you so much. I literally provided everything for you. Why are you doing this to me? He said, because of you, my life is destroyed. I said, how? Because when I stole someone's money for the very first time, you should have corrected me. What do kids know? They do not, they are dependent on you for directions. They are dependent on you to understand the worldly behavior. But if parents cannot guide them, the initial 12 years when the child grows, it's like making the pot, where when you make the pot with clay, it is in the process of making. You can give it any shape you like. You can facilitate that shape, but once it is made, it is made. So first 12 months, you have a lot of things that you can contribute to your children's progress. But if you do not do that, then no matter what happens, the child, once he grows up, he's not going to listen. Like people say that my kid doesn't listen to me now. No, he will not listen, because the process when he was supposed to be given those values, he wasn't given. And parents depend on school. They think that this is school's responsibility to give values to my kid. But school say, no, this is not our responsibility is to educate them. But values, all this should come from parent. So, but what happens today is somehow kids are not given these values. So it is very important to understand that otherwise what happens is the knowledge, as Krishna says in Bhagavad, as it appears is lost, and we end up messing up, or we end up not giving the proper we end up not facilitating the progress of our children the way we are supposed to facilitate it. That's what happens. So, but that is the prime duty of the leaders also, the head of the states. Like, let's say, consider President Donald Trump or Narendra Modi. They are also supposed to lead the society, lead the citizens in such a way that they bring them, they help citizens to come out of the bondage of lust. But what happens is they act in another way. They act in such a way that they support this phenomena of binding to lust. How, for an example, when the lockdown was being lifted, the very first thing from which the lockdown was lifted was in India was from the liquor stores, because government knows that it is the most revenue generating stream for them. So we should lift lockdown from them. So if the citizens keep on drinking alcohol, how are you supposed to have a sophisticated society? So government comes up with the constitution or IPC, and okay, if you drink and drive, then you will be fined. People drink and drive and then you fine, but rather not just provide them drinks in the first place. Why provide them alcohol in the first place? By drinking alcohol, people commit all gruesome kind of crimes, like some husbands beat their wife, some drive and kill someone. So many fights happen. I know recently a person was having a conversation with one of his friends in a bar, and this person, both of them were making fun of each other. After a while, that fun started taking a shape of fight, and both were drunk, and one person had a knife with him and he just killed the other person. Then they will then they will put him in behind the bar, and then the law will come into action. But if you do not provide that in the first place, you will avoid so much mishaps in the society. That is why this knowledge needs to be understood by the leaders. That is why it is, and who are the leaders? So we know leaders are not leading the way they are supposed to lead, but our leaders, we are also leaders in our small capacity. We are leaders. Maybe some of you may be the secretary of the society, or maybe some of you may be running a particular project in your company, or most importantly, you have kids. And I showed you the Bhagavatam example also, that your prime responsibility is to shape the life of your children. Another thing was, now you may ask, like, okay, you are telling us that protect them from the material bondage to lust. How do we do that? How do we do that? The answer is by scriptural study and following the process that is given in this particular day and age, which is chanting the name of the Lord. If you read the scriptures, your intelligence strengthens and you are able to make choices. I'll give you an example. I'll give you one story of great Vaishnava Acharya. Haridas Thakur, how he overcame the lust. Lust even didn't come too close to him. So Haridas Thakur was a great Vaishnava. in Gaudiya Madhva, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. He was actually a Mohammedan, but he used to chant 192 rounds daily. So you can imagine 192 rounds of this bead. So one round is 108 times chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He was chanting 192 such rounds. So it used to take him 22 hours in a day. 22 hours in a day he was chanting the name of the Lord. So this happened in the, I think this was in the Bengal region. This happened 550 years ago. There at that time the Mughals had invaded India, and there was this this person Ramchandra Khan. So Ramchandra Khan became envious of Haridas Thakur, saying that because Haridas Thakur, everyone was started noticing Haridas Thakur, that this person is chanting so many rounds, how many number of rounds he's chanting, and how he does that. He's such a great devotee of the Lord. Everyone was praising him. Everyone wanted to take his darshan. So Haridas Thakur had moved into a forest. He was in the forest, built a small hut for himself, and he was chanting 22 hours in a day. So Ramchandra Khan wanted to demolish this image of Haridas Thakur. So what he did is he sent one prostitute to Haridas to disturb Haridas Thakur. This prostitute's name was Lakshahira. Lakshahira meaning if you give 1 lakh diamonds, then you can associate with her for one night. That's why that beautiful she was. That much demand was there for her. Lakshahira, 1 lakh diamond for just one night with her. So Ramchandra Khan sent this prostitute to Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur, when she came to Haridas Thakur, she said, I want to associate with you. I want to enjoy with you. And Haridas Thakur said, okay, I'll fulfill your desire, whatever you want. But I haven't finished my rounds today. So I have to finish my rounds, then I'll do. So she had come to him in the evening time. And she was like, okay, so you sit outside the hut, and when I'm done with the round, I'll call you in. So she waited, and she slept. But Haridas Thakur kept on chanting till midnight. And that was his schedule. He would chant till midnight because 192 rounds that cannot be finished. You have to practically chant the entire day. So then at the end of the day, he used to drink some buttermilk and then take rest and then start his day again. So next morning, Lakshahira tells Haridas Thakur that you cheated me last night. You were supposed to enjoy with me, but you didn't do that. So Haridas Thakur said, well, my rounds weren't finished, and when my rounds were finished, I came and you were slept. So, okay, she said, tonight we have to enjoy. So Haridas Thakur says, yes, you wait outside and I'll finish my rounds and I'll come. Second day also same thing happens. She waited, and Haridas Thakur is continuing chanting. And second day also the same thing happened. Then third day she fell at the feet of Haridas Thakur, saying that you are a pure devotee of Lord, and I was trying to disturb you. I was trying to disturb your bhakti. I was trying to disturb your practice. Please forgive me. Now I have understood that you are a pure devotee, and what a gruesome crime I was doing by trying to disturb you. Haridas Thakur said, that is fine. he left. He said he initiated that prostitute into the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He gave her the mantra, gave her the beads, told her that this is Tulsi plant, sit near to the Tulsi plant and chant in this particular hut. So Haridas Thakur gave her his own hut, and then he moved to other, and that prostitute became to be a very big devotee. So that is the, so if our fundamentals are strong, the point I'm trying to make is how to overcome the material bondage to lust. If our fundamentals are strong, our faith is strong on the holy name, our faith is strong on the scriptures, and we are regularly practicing it. We don't have to chant 192 rounds like Haridas Thakur. No one can chant like that. But whatever is in our capacity, whatever little things we are doing, start doing it. Start taking baby steps towards God realization, towards establishing your connection with Krishna. Small steps you take. Krishna says that even if you, I'll provide what you lack. He says in Bhagavad Gita, I'll preserve what you have and I'll provide what you lack. So he just wants our endeavor, and then comes his mercy. Otherwise, in today's world, it is put, if you open any TV channel or any serial on the TV, they are just selling two things: violence and sex. These are the only two things they are selling today. Even in a ad of a paint, there are girls that are being shown. Half naked girls are shown in the paint ad, Asian Paint ad, like that. So and that too, think of taking care of your kids also. There is in childhood we were taught this poem in Sanskrit. Markatasya surapana tatra vishikdantanam. That means Markatasya, the monkey who is already so restless, surapana, he was given alcohol. And in that, tatra vishikdantanam, in that a scorpio has bitten him. So there is, first of all, he is a monkey. On top of it, the monkey has been given alcohol. On top of it, a scorpio bites him, and then a ghost enters into his body. Now see what happens to that monkey. That is what is happening to us. Already we are bewildered. We are led by not good leaders who do not know the science. Then we are misdirected by the media, by TV, the serials. So think what will happen. And in that too, if we are kid, if we are of the age from 5 to 12, think of what will happen to us. We are completely misdirected if we do not come to associations like this. That is why it is very important to come in associations like this, understand the word of God, and try to implement slowly it in our life. Yes, we are not great leaders, we are not leading citizens, but we are leaders in our small capacity. We are parent, we are husband or wife to someone. We have a responsibility towards them. We have a responsibility even towards the society. Unless we start making progress ourselves, we cannot show the way to others. So that is what I wanted to say on this particular topic. Let me see, if any other points I had. Yeah. Other point was everything we see, let's say we are watching a movie which has uh, thousands of images coming, 36 images in 1 second. If we watch a movie, 36 image comes in 1 second, and each image that comes, that sits in our mind, sits in our brain. Any action that we take is actually coming from that we have seen, good or bad. So you may say that the kid is just 4-year-old, 5-year-old. If he sees something, it is stored in it permanently. Time will come, it will come out. It is not like that he or she is 3 years old, they will not get it. Once it is seen, it is there, permanent. At a particular time, it will come out. So I'll tell one more incident that has just happened last year in New York region only. So there is this in Queens, there used to be a couple. The wife used to like Hrithik Roshan a lot, and anything about Hrithik Roshan, she used to just watch it on TV and just praise Hrithik Roshan like anything. And the husband became a bit envious about this, and they started fights between them. Then the wife, he got physical also. He used to physically beat the wife also sometimes because of this envious nature of him. Then the wife moved to a different home, separate home. She moved out. So both were living separately now. But one fine day she said that, okay, I think I should meet him once. She went to meet him, and this guy murdered her, killed her with the knife. And soon after, what he did is he messaged her sister saying that I have killed your sister. I have locked the door, and the keys are under the rug somewhere. I have kept it. He gave the location of the keys, and behind his home there was a tree. He went and hung himself there, and he committed suicide after that. Now tell me, how did all this came into function? Why did this man acted like this in a very aggressive way? Because this is being fed to us the entire day. This is a kind of a movie script. Okay, anyone does anything to you, you kill them, finish it off. Marriage is not working, give them divorce. That is what it is shown in the movie. Even how to implement what is in the movies is also given in the movie. There is a famous movie from the Drishyam movie. In that, Ajay Devgan's character is continuously watching. It's a remake of a South Indian movie. But in that, Ajay Devgan's character is continuously watching movies. And in that, he sees from the movies, he understands if something has happened in my life, how to deal with that also. That is also shown in the movie. So that is how much we are misdirected by the external world. To keep ourselves sane, to keep ourselves away from all those madness and detach from this material bondage of lust, we need to understand the scriptures and knowledge about this. There is a story in Bhagavatam that comes of Ajamil. Ajamil was a Brahmana, and once he came to know about, not once he came to know, he was going to do some work in the forest, and he saw a prostitute embracing a person, and he just saw it for a second and just closed his eyes and just carried on to his work. But then his mind started to think like, how nice it would be for me to to have association of that prostitute. Ajamil was married at this point of time, and that prostitute had 10 children. So he gave up, Ajamil gave up his home, his everything, and he started association with this prostitute. He took care of her and took care of her 10 children also. To fill their bellies, he had to sometimes loot people, sometimes he had to threaten people to give him money, gamble, and that's how his life had become abominable. So the point I'm trying to make is just seeing seeing something like that for 1 second spoiled the entire consciousness of Ajamil. We are being bombarded with all that stuff always, all the while. What would happen to our consciousness? So again, if you are a parent, please take this very seriously, that you are a leader, ruler for your kids, and do not spoil their life by not guiding them properly, not helping them progress towards the path of bhakti or towards God realization. It is very important for you, for the generation as well. I'll stop here and I'll see if you have some points to discuss. Anyone has any questions or any points to ask, discuss?
Chintan, you had mentioned about the kirtan on Thursdays. Is that happening through Zoom, or is that completely closed for now?
Yeah, it is not happening through Zoom also. It is completely closed. But if you are interested in Kirtan, I can share some very nice YouTube links for the Kirtan in the WhatsApp group.
Thank you. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
And when it used to happen in person, where is the center? Where was that?
It is in New York, Manhattan, East Village.
Okay.
25 First Avenue. Where are you from, Sona?
I live in Newport.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it is very close to, they are closed now. So I am actually connected to Bhakti Center, New York only. They are closed now because of the COVID thing, but they'll open maybe sometime next year, early next year.
Hopefully, yes. And you said 25th Street and First Avenue.
No, 25. I'll give you the address.
I think I've been there once. I could be wrong, but I think I've been there once.
Oh, really? It's in the East Village.
Many years back. Yeah.
Okay. So there are multiple floors there, and
there's a cafe on the ground floor, correct? They've served food after a kirtan. I've been there. I remember. This is many, many years back.
Oh, great. Wow. Yeah. Cafe. There was a cafe, and now they are running a restaurant there. Yeah. So Jatin, thank you for giving the address. So it is Bhakti Center 25.
Right. They are running a Divya Kitchens now over there, Ayurvedic kitchen, which is very nice.
Okay. I think I went for some Janmashtami ka celebration or something, and they had served prasad after that. So, and this is like many longer than 6, 7, 8 years back. So I do have memories of it. Yeah.
So I also wanted to, if no one has any question, I wanted to discuss about one more program. If any, I want to check first if anyone has any questions or comments to discuss on. So I want to share one more thing with you all. This is the program that we are coming up with. Yeah. So we are coming up with this program of 3 steps on the way to Krishna, where, as some of you are already chanting, so we thought in order for you to systematically progress, there is a three-step program that we are launching, wherein in step 1, which is called Shraddhavan, you will try to chant. You will chant 1 round in a day, and try increasing 1 round on the first of every month. Then you'll start reading 15 minutes a day, Bhagavad Gita as it is, and takes note out of it. And you will start listening for 15 minutes in a day. Radhe Shyam Prabhu, who is the temple president of Pune, he has a very nice series of lectures. So if I can provide you, whoever starts taking this particular plan, and you'll associate meaning you'll attend weekly class like we are having now, and there will be one-on-one meeting with the mentor in once in a 2 week. So there you'll take notes from Bhagavad Gita, and once in 2 week we'll meet and we'll discuss on your notes. What are notes? What are you got from what you're reading and listening you have done? So this is the step 1, which is Shraddhavan, and you will track on RISE. So we'll give access to a particular tool wherein you will daily put in your like we do in our companies. Sometimes we put hours, right? So for some same thing, we'll put like I did on 3rd of October. I this many rounds of chanting, this many time, this book I read for 15 minutes. So it's a proper tool in that you just have to feed the numbers. Then there is step 2, which is Krishna Sevak, where you do all of it, which is mentioned about, you just increase it. You increase, so chanting is 4 rounds, reading is 30 minutes, listening is 30 minutes, and then association is 3 hours association in month, attend physical classes, and alternatively attend 60-minute class on Zoom in 15 days. And then one important thing is you refrain from eating non-vegetarian food. And again, you track everything on the RISE. RISE is an app actually, tool we'll provide you. And the third step is, it's called Krishna Sadhak, where you do at least 8 to 12 rounds of chanting per day. Reading for 45 minutes, listening is for 45 minutes, association is for physical association is 4 hours in a month. So now physical association cannot happen, but whenever, so I conduct classes at my home also on every Friday, but now it is on Zoom. So because of COVID, it is not happening now. But earlier, that is what we used to have, physical association every once in a week. And then we'll avoid intoxication. We'll avoid drinks also. No alcohol, no meat eating, no gambling, no extramarital sex, and worshipping Krishna as far as possible at home. So this is a step-by-step progress plan. Whosoever is serious in achieving and understanding God and realizing Krishna, this is, I recommend, because I myself had started with such a program in 2016. I started with 1 round of chanting. Slowly, my faith kept on increasing. So I deposited some money, and Krishna returned back, and he reciprocated. Then I deposited more, and then he reciprocated. So that's how it's a relationship. You take a first step. I'll encourage all of you that to take first step in this and see how reciprocation. So this is how Krishna is. If you move 1 step towards him, he makes the way for the remaining steps for you. So I encourage everyone to take part in this. And if you want, I will be sharing this document. If you like, I can share with everyone, and then you can decide which step you want to take. Even if you want to start with step 1, that is also okay. If anyone wants to enroll now, that is also fine.
This is nice way to track at least. At least we can quantify our progress and then
Yes.
recalibrate if we are deviating from that. That's what my
Actually,
question. Like you were talking about a lot of distraction. So that's
mhm,
what struggle we face. Day to day life. Okay, we can read like on weekend, then weekend come,
mm,
then we forgot reading. Then okay, we can
correct.
do next day, and next day again, next weekend came in. So and so it's very difficult to train. But I think this way, if the process is there and we were put in the process, I think by putting lot of days of effort or by months, we will be trained to follow without going through this document as well. Yeah, I
Correct.
think this will
Exactly.
be helpful if you can share.
Sure. Yeah, and it is so important for us to, because in COVID situation we are not having physical association of anyone. Uh, to till this date, I have my records here. Uh, I have started using this particular tool. See, you see this. My records are. I till today I enter my records here. I started by entering many year in 2016, and I can actually track that how much, what all things I did in that particular day.
Right. This is through app, Rise app.
It's not an app; it's a website that has been built.
Okay.
So uh, it's not app till now. Yeah. So anyone has Padam Priya? Any comments, questions? You've been quiet.
No, Chintan. I'm good.
You are the one who usually speaks first. What happened?
Right. No, I was just listening to what
Okay.
you are like talking. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Niti, how are you doing? Long time, I think. Last couple of weeks, I haven't seen you. Niti, you're there?
I'm here, Chintan. Sorry, my hand was wet, so I couldn't unmute.
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Chintan. I'm doing good.
Okay. Mhm.
This is something or the other was going on every Saturday, so I couldn't join. But my mind has been towards joining every time. Even though I joined late today, I knew I had to join.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right then. Okay. No one has any question, comments. We'll wrap up for today. Thank you all for joining. See you next week. Hare
Thanks,
Krishna.
Chintan.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Chintan. See you next week.
Thank you, Padam Priya.